initially I said, being the doubting Thomas I am, I said, I'll bring it to our group and see what they think. So we took a vote last meeting, and almost everybody literally was in favor of having a guest speaker come in and talk about closing deals and or overcoming objections. And so without further ado, please welcome David Walter with the $1 Million Rebuttal, and his associate's going to videotape, so keep your questions and comments PG, right?
And I want to thank Art and everybody that voted for me for me. I appreciate it. Before I get started, there is one thing that I'd like everybody to remember from this talk, a takeaway. Cold calling is not dead. My name is David Walter, and I'm the superhero of cold calling. So I'm glad to be here, enjoying Vegas, and glad to be here with a group of people, business owners that understand the need for more leads, right? So what I'm going to talk about is your favorite subject, cold calling. We're ready to pick up that phone and make some calls, right? Not so much, not so much. Probably heard the drumbeat of LinkedIn, Facebook over the last couple of years. Cold calling's dead. Cold calling's dead, right? So basically, I've written a book called The $1 Million Rebuttal, and if you can guess, it's about cold calling. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to tell you my cold calling success story, and hopefully I can change some hearts and minds and get cold calling back on. And essentially, what happened back in the 90s, my family business tanked, and so I had to go out and get a job, and I found one telemarketing. And as soon as I started working, I was excited because I could set more appointments than most people on the team. So that was good. Unfortunately, I wasn't meeting my lifestyle with the money I was making. So I was kind of in the red zone. I was in danger of maybe losing my BMW, my nice apartment. And so I really had to talk to my friends and said, what can I do? And one friend said, hey, stay on the clock in the morning, ride the clock. I tried that, didn't work for me. Somebody else said, get a second job. So I got a second job, telemarketing, 14 hours a day, telemarketing, at a higher pressure job, right? So I started falling asleep on the job, right? Hell, I would say one of the rings of Dante's hell, doing that. And so, I stopped listening to my friends, and I said, okay, I got to do something different. So I realized, look, I've got a job where I'm getting a salary, but I'm getting a commission for every appointment that I set. So that represents an unlimited financial opportunity if I could just figure out how to set more appointments, right? And so that's when this idea of setting 15 appointments in one day popped into my head. And I was reading books like See You at the Top, Think You Were Rich, and so I really started meditating on those ideas. And 6 months later, the concepts of the $1 Million Rebuttal and my lead generation secrets were born. And I started implementing those right away, and I started setting 15 business-to-business appointments a day, every day for 6 months. Over 1,800 appointments. Set with the increased income, I was able to pay off my car. I bought land in the country, built a house for cash, and I ended up marrying my girlfriend. So eventually what I did is I started a telemarketing company, and over 13 years I helped companies make millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars cold calling, right? So maybe cold calling is not dead. So what I'd like to do is just go over the concept of the book. The basic concept of the book is try to take something that's very difficult, task like cold calling, and transform it into something that's very simple and easy, that's profitable. Essentially, the core idea is to take the path of least resistance and direct all the calls that I would make to get people to ask me to send information, which is usually what you don't want, right? And then from there, I use the $1 Million Rebuttal, which I'll talk more about what that $1 Million Rebuttal is, and apply that and magic happens. So one of the problems that most companies have when they do telemarketing and they fail is they don't understand that when you start making cold calls, 90% of the people you talk to are going to say they're happy with what they have, right? The only way you can break through is you have to actually look at your business model and change your model. You have to be new and improved, 2.0, something different, right? Then once you do that and you go back to call, you transform that call from a sales call into an educational call, right? That's part of this low-hanging fruit path of least resistance to get more leads. Now, one of the core things that you have to do to really take telemarketing, a really arduous task, difficult, something you don't want to do, and make it something easy breezy, is you've got to transform and turn yourself into your super alter ego. Right? What am I talking about? Your subconscious mind. Right? You have to tap into your subconscious mind. How do you do that? By meditating, by claiming your goals. And these are some things I read at See You at the Top and Think and Grow Rich that I implemented. And I did that. I looked in the mirror every morning before I set 15 appointments and said, I'm going to set 15 appointments today. And I did it every day for 6 months. So you have to do that. You have to tap into that. When you do, you unleash superpowers. Then you turn that hard job into something that's easy. Now, when you start thinking about cold calling, one of the objections that turns people off right off the bat is, gatekeepers, right? They're going to stop me cold. I'm not going to even get through the decision maker. Well, the truth is that there is no international order of gatekeepers meeting secretly to stop salespeople, right? One of the problems is salespeople, when they call, they're inexperienced. They say things that alert the phone screener that they're a salesman. In fact, I was talking to somebody earlier, the attitude itself, the excitement. Hey, how are you doing? I'm calling from so-and-so company. Salesman. So once you change that attitude, right, you can learn some of the tricks in my book about distracting phone screeners, making them feel important. You can breeze past them and explode your contacts. Now, the other obstacle is cold calling is a numbers game, right? We've all heard that. You got to dial for dollars. You got to make hundreds of calls, 200 calls a day. Actually, that's the opposite of the truth. If you actually call hundreds of people a day in order, over and over again, you're actually going to have lower contacts. You have to actually target a smaller group of people, right? And then make more calls to that small group. And then you dramatically increase your contacts. It's part of my strategy. And the last thing is the $1 million rebuttal itself. What is that? Basically, you're directing people to ask you for information on this educational campaign, right? Once they do that, you apply the $1 million rebuttal, which basically is the ultimate sin information rebuttal, right? It uses reverse psychology, leading the witness, and planting ideas in the prospect's mind that they think is their own. It's like the Jedi mind trick. They've asked you, you know what, send me information. In other words, I don't want a rep to come out and meet me and talk about your product. And then use the $1 million rebuttal, and suddenly they change and say, you know what, I'd rather have a rep come out here in person and talk to me. When I set up 15 appointments a day, every person asked me to send information on every single call by design. And I used the $1 million rebuttal every time and was able to convert probably 60% of the people that I would talk to. So in conclusion, if you get my book, then you'll learn how to transform telemarketing or cold calling into something easy that you can spend less time doing, that's far more effective, getting past, making more contacts, closing more meetings. I did 15 appointments a day. That was over 1,800 appointments in 6 months. Most people here don't need that many appointments. Like Mark, he's with me, he's an IT company. Most IT companies see about 30 appointments a year. So if you could be on the phone for just a few hours or a couple of days, you could generate 10, 15 appointments and fill up your 2 or 3 months worth of appointments. So the couple of things I want to leave you with is, remember that cold calling is not dead. My name is David Walter. I'm the superhero of cold calling. And also, the name of the book again is The $1 Million Rebuttal. And you can go on to the Amazon store or Amazon Kindle and find the book.